Hello students, Theory of Machines and Mechanism for 4th Sem Mechanical subject and by Jayanta Chakraborty, Mechanical Engineering Department of Sri Ramakrishna Institute of Science and Technology. Our topic is the different ways to transmit the power and speed or power transmission. Power is transmitted from the driver shaft to the driven shaft by means of different ways such as belts, chain, coupling, gear drive, ropes, etc. etc. In case of the power transmission by belt drive, two different types of belts are used. Number one is the flat belt and number two is V belt. It depends on the purpose of the power transmission and the distance of the driver and follower shaft, and also it will be depend on the configuration of the pulleys. The chain drive, we can see that the chain drive is used in case of cycle where the driver gear get the motion from the human manual force and the power is transmitted to the rear wheel of the cycle by means of chain drive. Shaft coupling is another coupling. Coupling means there is a connection between the driver shaft and the follower shaft by means of coupling. It is called shaft coupling. If to transmit the power from motor to a pump, a coupling is used. The gear drives, gear is always used for the power transmission in case of automobile gearbox and also in lathe. The more advantages of gearbox is or gear drives is that the more variable speed can be obtained from the gear drives. Figure shows the different types of pulley and the belt. How here the pulley, there are two types of pulleys. One is the driver and other one the follower. The belt is connected to transmit the power from driver pulley to the follower pulley. Next, the power transmission elements. The elements required to transmit the power from the driver pulley to the follower pulley or driver shaft to the follower shaft. Number one is driving or driven shaft. Driving, the other name of driving shaft is driver and the other name of driven shaft is follower. Because the driver get the motion, directly get the motion from the motor and transmit the power by means of chain, belt and etc. to the driven or follower shaft. The connectors would be required to transmit the power. Those are belt, chain, rope, gear and pulleys. Rope, in case of rope way, the power is transmitted through the rope. There are something supporting elements will be required. Those are bearing, brackets, axle, which all the supports the system or driving system, and the holding elements like coupling, bolt, nuts, pin and key. Next, the simple gear belt drive. Figure shows the two different types of belt drive. Number one, that is open belt drive, and number two is cross belt drive. Open belt drive, here there is no cross between the belt, and in case of cross belt drive there is a cross in case of the cross belt drive. The belt is arranged in such a way in case of open belt drive that belt is wrapped from the top of the driver to the top of the follower and from the bottom of the follower to the bottom of the driver. In case of cross belt drive, the belt starts from the top of the driver to the bottom of the follower and again top of the follower from the bottom of the driver. In this way, the cross is generated between the cross belt drive, and there is some advantages and disadvantages in case of open belt drive and cross belt drive. We will discuss here the difference between the open belt and cross belt drive. By the definition, the first difference is in open belt drive, the belt proceeds from the top of the one pulley to the top of the another pulley without crossing. In case of cross belt drive, the belt proceeds from the top of one pulley to the bottom of the another pulley and thus cross itself. Due to the second point is here, driver and driven shaft rotates in same direction, and in case of the cross belt drive, the driver and driven rotates in opposite direction. The angle of wrap means the contactness of the belt with the pulleys. The angle of wrap is always below the 180 degree in case of open belt drive, and it is always above the 180 degree in case of the cross belt drive. Due to the smaller wrap angle, the power distribution is also low in case of the open belt drive, and it is high in case of crossed belt drive. Here, the belt does not touch itself, so no rubbing takes place in belt exhibits longer life. But in case of cross belt drive, due to the cross or the rubbing between the belts, the longevity is lower or less than the other one. But the cross belt drive is more advantageous because since the angle of wrap or angle of contact is more in case of cross belt drive, so the power transmission rate is high in case of crossed belt drive. But again, due to the cross itself, the contactness of the belt, that is the vibration is less. So we adopt the crossed belt drive in case of different rice mill and the other one is required. At last, the surface speed. To solve the problem, we require the formula, the surface speed. Here, the surface speed means the surface speed, since the belt is wrapped over the surface of the pulley. So, the speed of the belt depends on the surface speed of the pulley. It is given V equal to pi dn, where pi is the constant value 3.14 or 22/7, and d is the diameter of the pulley. It is always in meter, and n is the rotation per minute or revolution per minute. It means per minute how many rotation is occurred of the pulley. Therefore, the pi dn. Therefore, the value of V is equal to pi dn. The unit will be meter per minute when the perimeter is in meter, diameter is in meter, and n is in rpm. Then the unit will be, in case of surface speed, will be meter per minute. Thank you to all, and be safe and stay at home.